Unveiling Your Inner Brilliance, the revolutionary act of self love. Welcome to the Black CEO Podcast, where we dive deep into conversations that challenge perspectives and ignite inner fires. Today, we're embarking on a transformative journey, exploring insights that have the power to reshape how we see ourselves and the world around us. I recently had the incredible privilege of interviewing Khadine Beckford, a visionary whose words serve as a beacon of light in a world that often tries to dim our shine. Khadine's impact extends far beyond mere inspiration. She's a catalyst for change, empowering individuals to recognize their inherent worth and beauty in a society that too often overlooks it. Her message is a rallying cry for authenticity and self love, challenging us to embrace our unique brilliance and use it to create positive change in the world. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, scrutinizing every perceived flaw, wondering if you're truly enough? It's a question that haunts so many of us, lurking in the shadows of our minds, whispering doubts when we least expect it. But what if I told you that the very thing you've been questioning, your unique, authentic self, is the key to unlocking your greatest potential? Khadine Beckford's message is clear, powerful, and revolutionary. You are beautiful in your skin. Shine in it. Because here's the truth, nobody else is going to tell you that you're beautiful. You got to recognize it yourself. It's time to start shining from within. And that journey begins with a radical act of self love and defiance against a world that often tries to put us in boxes and dictate who we should be. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, easy for her to say, but let me tell you, this isn't just some feel good mantra. It's a call to arms, a challenge to defy the status quo and embrace your true self in all its glorious complexity. Khadine's words hit me like a bolt of lightning, illuminating a truth I'd long forgotten. Everything is for my betterment. Take a moment to let that sink in. Every experience, every challenge, every rejection is all contributing to your growth, your strength, your unique brilliance. It's not just about feeling good about yourself, it's about recognizing the immense power of your voice, especially when you feel voiceless. Let me share a story that illustrates this point beautifully. I recently met Sarah, a young woman who grew up in a small town where conformity was prized above all else. Sarah always felt different. Her dreams were bigger, her ideas more unconventional. For years, she dimmed her light, trying to fit in. But one day, inspired by words similar to Khadine's, Sarah decided to embrace her uniqueness. She started a community art project that celebrated diversity and individual expression. At first, she faced resistance and criticism, but as she persevered, something magical happened. People started to open up to share their own hidden talents and dreams. Sarah's courage to be herself not only transformed her life, but sparked a cultural shift in her entire community. This story reminds us of a fundamental truth. When we dare to be authentically ourselves, we give others permission to do the same. We create ripples of change that can transform entire communities. But here's the kicker, it's not just about feeling good about yourself, it's about recognizing the power of your voice, especially when you feel like you don't have one. Khadine reminded me that we all have something to say, but she's speaking for those who feel voiceless. And let me tell you, that's a responsibility that weighs heavy, but it's also incredibly empowering. As someone who navigates multiple cultural identities, who speaks both Spanish and English, who identifies as both Black and Hispanic, I understand the complexity of identity. We're not just one thing. We're a beautiful tapestry of experiences, cultures, and languages. And each thread of that tapestry has value, has a story to tell. But here's the thing, it's not enough to just know you have something to say. You got to say it with passion, with authenticity. Khadine's approach is all about being real. She doesn't share what she has to say often, but when she does, she wants you to see it, to feel it. Could you imagine the impact we could have if we all approached our truth with that level of intensity and sincerity? Now, I want you to think about a time when you felt invisible, when you thought your voice didn't matter. Maybe it was in a meeting at work or in a classroom or even in your own home. Hold on to that feeling for a moment. Now, imagine if in that moment you had stood up, looked everyone in the eye, and spoke your truth with unwavering confidence. How would that have changed things? How would it have changed you? That's the power Khadine is talking about. It's not just about being heard, it's about changing the entire conversation. It's about shifting the paradigm of what it means to be beautiful, to be worthy, to be enough. Let me share another story that illustrates this point. Meet Carlos, a brilliant software engineer who always felt out of place in his tech company. As a first-generation immigrant, he often doubted whether his ideas were valuable, whether he truly belonged in that space. For months, he sat silently in meetings, watching others take credit for ideas similar to ones he kept to himself. Then one day, inspired by the concept of owning his unique perspective, Carlos decided to speak up. In a crucial meeting, he presented an innovative solution to a problem that had been plaguing the company for months. His accent was thick, his hands were shaking, but his eyes were alight with passion and conviction. The room fell silent when he finished. Then, to his surprise, his colleagues erupted in applause. His idea wasn't just good, it was groundbreaking. In that moment, Carlos realized that his different background, the very thing he'd been trying to hide, was actually his greatest strength. It allowed him to see solutions others couldn't. From that day forward, Carlos became a vocal advocate for diversity in tech, mentoring other immigrants and minorities, showing them that their voices and perspectives were not just valuable, but essential. His story is a powerful reminder that when we embrace our authentic selves, we not only transform our own lives, but can catalyze change on a much larger scale. But let's be real for a second. This isn't easy. We live in a world that's constantly trying to tell us who we should be, how we should look, what we should value. The media bombards us with images of a narrow definition of beauty. Society tries to pigeonhole us based on our race, our gender, our background. It's exhausting, isn't it? But here's where Khadine's wisdom really shines. She's not asking us to fight against all of that. She's inviting us to rise above it, to recognize that our worth isn't determined by anyone else's standards. It's inherent. It's in our DNA. It's in the way we carry ourselves, the way we speak our truth, the way we show up in the world. Think about it like this. You're not a product waiting for someone else's approval. You're a masterpiece in progress, constantly evolving, growing, becoming more of who you're meant to be. Every experience, every challenge, every moment of doubt, it's all part of the process. It's all making you more you. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that sounds great, but how do I actually do that? How do I start seeing myself as beautiful, as worthy, when everything around me seems to be saying the opposite? Great question. And the answer, my friends, lies in practice. Just like any skill, self-love and self-confidence require consistent effort. It's about creating new habits, new ways of thinking about yourself. Start small. Every morning when you look in the mirror, instead of focusing on what you perceive as flaws, find one thing you love about yourself. Maybe it's your eyes, or your smile, or the way your hair falls. Maybe it's something deeper. Your kindness, your resilience, your creativity, whatever it is, acknowledge it, celebrate it. Then take it a step further. Throughout your day, notice the moments when you are tempted to doubt yourself or shrink back. In those moments, remind yourself, I am enough. I am worthy. I have something valuable to contribute. It might feel awkward at first, even a little silly, but stick with it. Over time, these affirmations will start to rewire your brain, changing the way you see yourself and the way you interact with the world. But self-love isn't just about positive self-talk. It's also about action. It's about standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, pursuing your passions. It's about using your voice, especially when it feels scary to do so. Remember what Khadine said about speaking for those who don't have a voice? That's where the real magic happens. When you start to see your own worth, when you start to shine from within, you create a ripple effect. You give others permission to do the same. Imagine a world where we all recognize our inherent beauty and worth. Imagine how that would change our relationships, our workplaces, our communities. Imagine the innovations, the art, the solutions that would emerge when we all felt free to bring our full, authentic selves to the table. That's the world Khadine is inviting us to create. And it starts with each one of us right here, right now. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but you don't know my life. You don't know my struggles. And you're right, I don't. But here's what I do know. Your struggles, your challenges, your unique experiences, they're not obstacles to your beauty and worth. They're part of it. They're what make you you. Think about a diamond for a moment. Do you know how diamonds are formed? Under immense pressure over long periods of time, the very conditions that seem harsh and unforgiving are what creates something of immense beauty and value. You, my friend, are no different. Your struggles haven't diminished your worth, they've refined it. They've given you strength, resilience, empathy. They've given you a unique perspective that no one else has. And that perspective, that voice, is exactly what the world needs. But here's the catch: the world won't benefit from your unique brilliance if you keep it hidden. If you continue to doubt your worth, to question whether you're enough, the world needs you to step into your power, to own your beauty, to speak your truth. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. Believe me, I know it's not. As someone who navigates multiple cultural identities, who speaks multiple languages, I understand the complexity of trying to find your place, your voice. There are days when it feels like the world is trying to put you in a box, to make you choose one aspect of your identity over another. But what if instead of trying to fit into someone else's definition of who you should be, you embraced all of who you are? What if you saw your complexity not as a burden, but as a gift that allows you to bridge worlds, to understand different perspectives, to bring people together? This is what Khadine means when she says everything is for my betterment. Even the challenges, even the moments of confusion or doubt, they're all contributing to your growth, your understanding, your ability to impact the world in a way that only you can. So, how do we put this into practice? How do we start living this truth, not just thinking about it? First, we need to get comfortable with discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in our comfort zones. It happens when we push ourselves, when we dare to speak up, to stand out, to be different. The next time you're in a situation where you feel the urge to shrink back, to blend in, that's your cue to step forward instead. Share your perspective. Ask that question. Make that suggestion. Your voice matters, and the world needs to hear it. Second, we need to surround ourselves with people who see our worth, who encourage us to shine. Look around at your circle of friends, your colleagues, the media you consume. Are these influences building you up or tearing you down? Are they encouraging you to be more authentically you, or are they pressuring you to conform? Choose wisely. Your environment has a profound impact on how you see yourself. Third, we need to practice gratitude, not just for the good things in our lives, but for ourselves. Take time each day to acknowledge your own growth, your own strength, your own beauty. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they might seem. Did you speak up in a meeting today? That's worth celebrating. Did you try something new even though it scared you? That's huge. Recognize these moments. They're evidence of your growth, your courage, your inherent worth. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we need to pay it forward. Once you start recognizing your own beauty and worth, don't keep it to yourself. Spread that light. Encourage others. Be the voice that tells someone else they're beautiful, they're worthy, they're enough. Because when we lift each other up, we all rise. Now, I want to circle back to something Khadine said that really struck me. She said, I don't share what I got to say often. So when I do, I want to see it and feel what I'm saying. There's so much power in that statement. It's about being intentional with our words, with our presence. It's about showing up fully, authentically, unapologetically. Imagine if we all approached life this way. If every time we spoke, we did so with intention, with passion, with the full force of our authentic selves behind our words. How would that change our interactions, our relationships, our impact on the world? This isn't about being loud or dominating every conversation. It's about being present. It's about speaking your truth, even if your voice shakes. And it's about allowing yourself to be seen, truly seen, even when it feels vulnerable. Because here's the truth: your voice, your perspective, your presence, it matters. It has the power to change minds, to open hearts, to inspire action. But only if you use it, only if you allow yourself to be heard, to be seen, to shine. Let me share one final story that brings all of this together. Meet Amina, a young woman who grew up in a conservative community where women were often silenced and their dreams dismissed. From a young age, Amina had a passion for education and a dream of becoming a teacher. But she was constantly told that her place was in the home, that her voice didn't matter. For years, Amina struggled with self doubt. She began to believe that maybe they were right. Maybe she wasn't meant for more. But deep down, a small flame of hope refused to be extinguished. One day, Amina came across a talk similar to this one. The message of self-love and embracing one's authentic self resonated deeply with her. She realized that her desire to teach, to make a difference, wasn't just a dream, it was her calling. With newfound courage, Amina decided to pursue her education. It wasn't easy. She faced resistance from her family and community. There were days when she wanted to give up, but she held on to the truth that she was worthy, that her voice mattered. Amina not only became a teacher, but started a program to empower other young women in her community through education. Her courage to embrace her authentic self and pursue her passion created a ripple effect, changing the lives of countless girls who saw in her an example of what was possible. Amina's story is a powerful reminder of what can happen when we dare to love ourselves, to believe in our worth, and to pursue our passions with unwavering determination. It's a testament to the transformative power of self love and authenticity. So, as we wrap up this conversation, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next week, I want you to practice shining. Every day, do one thing that allows your authentic self to shine through. Maybe it's wearing that outfit you love but have been afraid to wear. Maybe it's sharing an idea in a meeting. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation you've been putting off. Whatever it is, do it with intention. Do it with the knowledge that you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are enough. And as you do this, pay attention to how it feels. Notice the energy it creates, not just in you, but in those around you. Because when you shine, you give others permission to shine too. You create a ripple effect of authenticity, of self love, of empowerment. Remember, in the words of Khadine Beckford, everything is for my betterment. Every experience, every challenge, every moment of vulnerability, it's all contributing to your growth, your strength, your unique brilliance. Embrace it, use it, shine with it. You are beautiful in your skin. You have a voice that deserves to be heard. You have a light that deserves to shine. So go out there and shine, my friend. Shine bright, shine unapologetically, shine with the full force of who you are, because the world needs your light. The world needs your voice. The world needs you, all of you, exactly as you are. This isn't just about personal growth. This is about sparking a revolution of self-love, of authenticity, of embracing our unique brilliance. It's about creating a world where everyone feels empowered to be their true selves, where diversity is celebrated, where every voice is valued. Imagine the innovations we could create, the problems we could solve, the art we could produce if we all felt free to bring our full, authentic selves to the table. Imagine the compassion and understanding we could foster if we all recognize the inherent worth in ourselves and others. This is the world we can create, one act of self love at a time. It starts with you, it starts now. So I challenge you, no, I dare you to look in the mirror tonight and say, I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am enough. Say it until you believe it. Then wake up tomorrow and live it. Speak your truth. Pursue your passions. Stand up for what you believe in. Be unapologetically, authentically you. And as you do, remember this: your journey of self discovery and empowerment doesn't end here. It's just beginning. Keep shining, keep growing, keep becoming more authentically you. Because when you shine, you light the way for others. You become a beacon of hope, a catalyst for change. You have the power to transform not just your own life, but the lives of those around you, your community, and ultimately the world. So shine on, beautiful souls. Shine on.